Good evening, humans. Tyrannosaurusmoth here, and tonight we're taking a look at the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Remastered Mighty Morphin Red Ranger figure from Hasbro. When these remastered figures were initially announced, my plan pretty much from the beginning was only to pick up the Red Ranger, but the question is, did this make me rethink that? Well, let's talk about that. Let's do this. Aesthetically speaking, this figure looks great, and it's pretty much what we've seen before, just kind of updated. We got our nice pinless joints here. And obviously the new updated helmet, that's way more screen accurate, so that's definitely cool. Beyond that, we actually get a nice definitive belt with the black lines. Just kind of adds a touch of class. And for some comparisons here, I have the other Red Ranger. Actually, I don't have one without the shield available to me, even though I have numerous of this figure. But so you can see them side by side. I think the chest is slightly wider on this original one. But then we bring in the metallic, and I think they had already fixed the upper torso, and that's more of what we're getting here. So it's very, very, actually more similar to the metallic than it is the original. Pardon me. But everything else, very, very clean, clean paint all around, nice, even plastic. I know one of the issues with the line initially was that the torso didn't match the limbs, and yeah, they definitely got that here. Just really clean application all around. It just looks fantastic. I mean, really, this looks pretty definitive to me, I think, certainly for this line. So yeah, I just think they did a great job here. So definitely very good aesthetics. We get a really satisfying group of accessories here, certainly at least for me, and I couldn't be happier about that. So let's jump in, and starting with hands right out of the box, we do get our grips that we've seen since the beginning. However, this time we are on vertical hinges, which is beautiful. It should have been like that for a while now, but it's good that we're finally getting that now. Then we get a pair of fists. And finally, we get a couple of different posed up hands. So for the right hand, we get this kind of clawed sort of look, also with a vertical hinge, and that slightly confuses me because I feel like I get more out of that if it was the horizontal hinge. And then we get the kind of relaxed hand, waving hand, chopping hand, whatever, what have you. So yeah, there's that. Then we get a couple of effects pieces. We do have these electric, fiery, kind of translucent red pieces. Really, really enjoying these actually. They look really cool. You can just put them in front of the figure and they look fantastic. So definitely a fan of that. Then we get into some apparel, and we get the dragon shield, and I know that this is a point of contention for a lot of people. The dragon shield comes with red, and I get that totally. As someone who is probably overly obsessed with the armored version of the Red Ranger, I have an entire collection. I have almost every version of that. I was psyched that this was the case. I just wish they did it in a windowed package. But this is the best shield we've gotten yet. Possibly out of several lines. This shade of gold is pretty much perfect. I think they nailed it. The sculpt is there. Black lines are definitive. Just really, really good stuff. And as you can see, we got the holes in the back here so it can fit on either the male or the female figures. Just and these pegs are very easy to work with. So just beautiful work there. And not only that, we do of course get the armbands as well, and just simple bands, and they just slide over the arms and they actually hold pretty well. So really good feat of engineering going on there. Then we get the Morpher, and this is kind of a weird thing to throw in, but if you have any customs of them in civilian form, this is pretty much perfect. But some nice paint there, a little sloppy with the red paint on mine, but you can tell that is the T-Rex face, and you can definitely see the kind of beats going on there. And as you can see, there's a little bit of handle here for the figure to hold. So there's that. Then we get into, lose my focus here, weapons, and we get all three forms of the blaster. So we do get the kind of folded up mode with this little bit of white and silver paint on there. Then we get blade mode, and finally we get what we've seen since the beginning of the line, the blaster mode. Actually, this looks slightly different, and there's a hole in the end, so never mind. This is actually probably a new sculpt that can allow for blast effects, which is actually awesome, even better. So there we go. And then finally, we get the power sword done beautifully. We actually get the kind of green jewels down here. We get the gold outlines. Just really well. The only thing this is missing, I think, is just the black lines in the blade itself to kind of bring out that design. But yeah, other than that, just fantastic group of accessories. Articulation balance here are very nice, and it is the updated version that we've been seeing for a while now, for probably about a year, I want to say. And yeah, it definitely has its limitations, and there's still a couple issues I have with it, but overall it does feel like they got better with it. So right off the bat, you can see we can hold a freestanding kick. Doesn't look beautiful. Part of that is what we're going to start with, and that is that head articulation, and just I don't know, they just did not implement this well. It feels a little bit better here because we do actually get some up, not a ton, but a little bit, and not really any down. Again, the neck piece shouldn't be separate if it's not going to move. So that's just I don't know, doesn't make sense. We do get a little bit of, you know, side to side there, so that's kind of nice. Obviously we get rotation, so that's pretty cool. So I will definitely be taking the head off, taking that barbell joint out, and then kind of dremeling, trying to get some more range out of that. But other than that, like, it's there. I definitely missed the ball hinge. I think that was a better option. Then we come down to the shoulders. We do have nice butterfly joints, not quite as generous as they were in the original mold, but still good, and still definitely helps. For our arms, coming up into a T, we do have a bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows bring us to there. Hinge and swivel on the wrists. Hinge and swivel, I always say that and then act differently. But you know, a lot of vertical hinges on this actually, so definitely can't complain there, especially because I always ask for that. So we get there our ball joint here at the diaphragm. We do have our ab cut at the waist, so we get some really nice forward, some insane arch back, and we get a little bit of side to side because we got a lot of room there. A lot of the joints are loose. They're not very loose. They definitely feel more dialed in than they did with the swap 2-pack that we got last year, but still a little bit of work to do, but still kind of nice. And then we get drop down hips, and then we get our splits, and still not full splits because they are still using the top of the thigh that they did on that original mold, and that just, it doesn't cut. This proves that even with a drop down, it just doesn't give you the range. It's about cutting that sculpt a little bit better. So there is that. Then we get thigh swivel, double jointed knees bring us to there, boot cut, and we get perfect point, some very nice forward, and some very generous rocker. So that's articulation. Getting into size comparisons, here he is with some other Power Rangers lines, with some other Lightning Collection, with some other Hasbro and some Mattel, with some imports, with some monsters. Finally, with articulated icons, Oni and yours truly in human form as a Valverse Action Force figure. So my final thoughts on the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Remastered Mighty Morphin Red Ranger figure from Hasbro is that this is really a great figure. They definitely have shown some improvement here. Hasbro has, you know, there's still a little bit of looseness here in this mold, clearly. However, it's definitely a little more dialed in. I think the accessories are pretty much perfect for my taste, certainly. The aesthetics are definitely great, especially it's nice to see the proper, like, screen accurate helmet on this body. So yeah, just there's a lot to recommend. I guess echo something I said about in another Lightning Collection review earlier in the year. This does make me sad that the line's taking a hiatus, but hopefully it is just that. It's just a hiatus, and it does come back because they're clearly learning, and you know, I do want to see this line continue. There's a lot to love about it, and you know, even though that head articulation just really bothers me, there's just so much else here. There's all those things I have already mentioned. So yeah, I definitely recommend picking this up. You know, if you've also enjoyed the Lightning Collection thus far overall, and just if you love MMPR, if you love Zero Ranger, any of that, yeah, definitely pick this up, and is available from various online retailers, not limited to Entertainment Earth, of whom I happen to be an affiliate. So if you use the code that shows up here, or use the link in my description, and this happens to be in stock, then you'll get 10% off. But If that's not the case, but your total order is over $79 as of the recording of this video, they changed that a lot, then you will get free shipping. So definitely things worth considering. But beyond that, I just want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found this review informative and somewhat entertaining. And if you did, I hope to see you back, because I do multiple reviews a week of action figures related to tokusatsu, dinosaurs, monsters, pro wrestling, and more. It's all in the header. So yeah, thank you so much for watching again, and ultimately I just hope you are well. I hope that all of your toy dreams come true, and most importantly, I hope that you and yours stay weird, simians.